We're jumping down the rabbit hole that is Athia in this one, because in today's video, I'm giving my accessibility impressions of Forspoken. Hi, I'm Steve Saylor, an accessibility advocate and consultant in the video game industry, and I'm also blind. If you're wondering how I can play video games if I'm blind, click here or in the link in the description down below to see exactly what I see when I'm playing video games. Alright, so disclaimer, I have had only a few hours with the game, so this isn't a full review of Forspoken. It is my accessibility impressions. However, I have played enough to at least discuss how the accessibility works in this game, so let's talk accessibility. The game does make a concerted effort to make accessibility part of its design, and it actually shows. There are accessibility options that I haven't seen, and there are considerations in the design that shows me accessibility was part of the design process throughout production, but maybe not as much as I would have hoped. Does it succeed in that? Not fully, and that's okay. So I want to give a bit of context. Lumious Productions, who made the game under Square Enix, is a Japanese studio. Their biggest claim to fame is making Final Fantasy 15. Forspoken is their first attempt at adding accessibility into their games. This is also very rare for Japanese studios, by the way. Accessibility in games is not as common in Asian countries as it is here in the West. So their approach is from the standpoint of, we are trying this out and learning as we go. You can tell this because when folks online talked about the demo that came out and it was missing some accessibility, the studio did come out and say that they would actually be updating the demo. Updating the demo, let me make that clear, that rarely happens. So the developers there are brand new to this concept of developing for those with disabilities, and they're showing an effort that they want to continue this practice moving forward. I am surprised about what the game does have in regards to options, including accessibility. The accessibility menu is actually the largest of the entire settings menu. Oh, by the way, if you're curious, I did actually a whole breakdown of the settings in a video here, so check that out either there or in the description down below. I am impressed by what they offer, such as automatic item gathering, automatic lockpicking, auto dodge, colorblind filters, setting spell wheels to either a hold or a toggle, full remapping for both controller and on mouse and keyboard for PC, magic sprint to toggle or hold, a cuff compass that shows a highlighted path for a period of time, and yes, a cuff chat frequency option that you can change. Now, let me stop there for a minute. I want to talk about this. I know there has been some discourse online about why the devs included this option, and that by adding it, showing the developers know the dialogue is bad, so they included an option to be able to turn that off so you don't have to suffer through it. That is not what it was designed for. Adding cuff chat features where you can adjust the frequency of how often the cuff talks to you help those with cognitive, blind, low vision, deaf and hard of hearing disabilities, and kind of filling in those spectrums in between. For cognitive, a lot of extra noise can be overwhelming and will make it harder to focus on the game itself. So adjusting this can help cut out some of that noise. For blind low vision, if the cuff says, hey, what's that over there? This helps those players know there is something nearby that might be worth checking out that they may not be able to see properly. For deaf and hard of hearing, if there are sound cues for items, points of interest nearby that don't have a visual element on the screen of where that sound is coming from, that same, hey, what's over there is subtitled, and those players now know there is something nearby. This option provides more help for accessibility than just because you think the dialogue is bad and you can just turn it off. So stop it. Stop it. It's a good feature. Leave it alone. All right. Anyway, let's continue. Some other options that are available: add enhanced visibility in items, and for incoming heavy attacks, you can slow down or completely pause the game while in the spell casting wheel. You can adjust subtitles, add speaker tags, and increase HUD icons and HUD size. You can also adjust how much damage is received and whether to extend the downtime an enemy has if they get knocked down, so you can have enough time to do a special attack. This is honestly an impressive suite of options that would be great in a lot of games. There are some design choices that do need improvement, such as in regards to combat. You can actually set that all combat needs is just to hit one attack button and then being able to choose your different attack and support spells, and also automatic camera adjustment. This is great for those with motor disabilities and for blind, low vision players who want to have fun in combat without having to worry about attacks they can't see or have the ability to dodge away from quickly. I would have liked to see more options to adjust that further to make it more customizable. For some, the aim assist is fine, but for others, it's too much or too little. So providing more customization to a player's comfortability with combat would be ideal. Another area for improvement is the amount of noise that happens on the screen when using your magic. The particle effects when you're in full combat mode can be a lot of chaos and can be hard to focus on what you're doing and who you're aiming at. This affects both those with cognitive disabilities and those who are blind low vision. Another big area is also the UI. While you can adjust the HUD size, the menus are extremely hard to read sometimes. The curvature of the menus into sort of like a spherical look, while a cool design, makes it so the words are stretched across the screen and can make the font hard to read, especially with how small the font is in some of those areas. A lot of Square Enix games actually have decent font choices, and a lot of the main headings and larger text already in the game is actually quite good. It's just not consistent across the board. This might be more of a Square Enix or an Asian game development mentality, because a lot of the headings and UI that is in Forspoken that is similar to a lot of games developed in Japan. Another area of improvement is the sparkle animation effect on Cuff's subtitles when he is talking to Frey. I understand why it's there to showcase that it is a magical item that can talk, and it does look cool. However, for accessibility, it's too distracting, and also with how fast the conversations are happening between the two, it doesn't give deaf and hard of hearing players enough time to read the subtitles properly. It'd be nice to have that option to turn that effect on or off. And lastly, there are some key accessibility areas that are missing that will make this a can't play for some players. There is no screen reader, there's no narration, there's no full navigational assistance, both in either haptics or even audio cues that help with navigational assistance. There's no full captions and no resizing of in-game menus. Now, of course, a lot of this can be moved if I keep playing and as more spells and areas and traversal and new enemies come up that the accessibility might be best suited for, but for right now, at the start of the game, that can be an issue if the player can't even get to that point. Overall, the game is not bad for accessibility, but it's not great either. It surprised me in some areas and not so much in others. I think this is a great first attempt at accessibility on this scale from this studio, and hopefully we'll see more Luminous production games that are more accessible in the future based on what they learned when making Forspoken. Let's just say that I am a fan of Luminous Productions, and I look forward to seeing what they can develop next. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button while you're down there to help this channel grow. I'll see you in the next video. I'm proud of you, and as always, I remain obediently yours. Bye.